Have 10 pounds of 80/20. I do my meatballs with 80/20. I don't veer from that. This is what I use. And over here we have some fresh parsley. Now, I chopped all this morning. Over here we have about 3/4 of a pound of Parmesan cheese. Again, don't quote me on all these until I put the recipe actually in the description. Okay, that is also fresh grated. The better the ingredients, the better that this is going to come out. Okay. Over here I have 5 eggs. I got an extra egg in there. I'm going to do 4 pounds of meatballs. But that's going to be, that's going to come out to be more than 4 pounds by the time I add everything into it. So I'm estimating that I'm probably going to roll somewhere around 60, 60 to 70 meatballs, whatever. Not like my grandmother used to roll 400 or 500 at a clip. Okay, and over here I have a ton of fresh chopped minced garlic. Actually, you can see how minced that really is. Okay, not going to use it all. There's 10 cloves there. I'm probably not going to use it all, but I didn't want to stop the video, go chop more, so on and so forth. I like all my prep out of the way. Okay, over here I have some Italian bread. Okay, now this bread I bought from a local bakery where I live around. It's a place called Bellinopoli. Swear by it. You see it in my other recipes. You guys know I'm real faithful to this. Been buying this stuff, since I was a kid. I've been going to that place since I was a child. So what I did here, I'll put a picture up on the corner of the screen too as I'm talking, is I bought this bread 3 days ago. Okay, I let it sit in the bag. I put it in a brown bag. I just left it, basically on a countertop. I left it on my bar just to get stale. Okay, so you want your bread to become, listen, okay, it's stale. It just cracks. Okay, and I'll show you what we're going to do with that. So I have 2 loaves of Italian bread. I didn't weigh this out, but their Italian bread comes 1 pound per loaf. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to put this under water, and we're going to soak this bread. We're going to squeeze it out and add it in with the rest of the ingredients. I know a lot of talking here. I get it, but I just want to make sure I explain that to you. It's very important to use Italian bread. Don't use French bread. Your meatballs are going to come out much differently. Now, we are on to making the meatballs. All right. Some of you guys thought that it was weird having stale Italian bread. Now is where I'm going to show you. And this is stale. Okay. So, I explained to you what I did with that before in the beginning of the video. So, we're going to just continue with what we got going on here. Okay. I've got 4 pounds of 80/20. Okay. So, out of that 10-pound bag, I took out 4 pounds. And then I'll do something different with the other 6 pounds. Either freezer wrap it or just do something with it. Anyways, got 4 pounds of 80/20. I always use 80/20. Now the bread, what we're going to do is, I got a bowl of water here, okay? And the only thing that we're going to do is we're going to soak the bread just for a couple seconds, okay? Just until it becomes a little bit pliable. As soon as it becomes pliable, we're just going to take it, and we're just going to wring it out like a sponge, just like that, right? And then we're just going to take it, and we're going to break it up, just like this. That's all we're going to do, okay? This is going to do a couple of things. This is going to add some moisture to the meatballs, because I don't believe meatballs should be dry. And 2, it's going to leave the meatball kind of pliable, right? Just my whole thing with meatballs, this is the way my grandmother used to make it. So like I said in the beginning, I really don't play with that much because there's really nothing left, of the way my grandmother used to do things. So every time I make this, I always try to, kind of do it the way she did it. Okay, and by having the bread stale, it's easier to break up. Okay, so that's all you do. You just pull it apart, you break it up, you pull it apart like this. Now, like I explained to you guys before, it's very, very difficult to let you know exactly like the moisture content. Like you're not squeezing all the water out, but you're squeezing probably, probably 90% of the water out, I would say. And there's no set way of saying, hey, you need this much, right? Because this is, I hate to say it like this, and I have said it in my other videos, and it kind of makes Italian people look like we're, I don't know, whatever we are. But we don't measure, right? That's the thing. We don't measure. So that's the difficult part for us Italians. We don't measure. Yeah. So when we do recipes and we do stuff like this, it's very hard to say, yeah, you got to add this, you got to add that, blah, blah, blah. It's hard. So what I did for this recipe, I'm going to try to do it the best I can, because usually when I do meatballs, I go by the way it looks and I go by the way it smells before it's cooked, okay? That's just the way I do it. So it's hard anyways. But what I will do is I weighed out all the bread before I started doing this, and it came out to 2 pounds of bread. So I can weigh it back out afterwards. And again, this recipe is going to be for 4 pounds. Okay, so if you want to do 2 pounds or whatever, you cut the recipe in half. It's pretty simple. You want to do 1 pound of meatballs, you do it, that's what you do. You just keep deducting, I guess. So I'm going to continue to do this, and then we're going to add some cheese, some garlic, some parsley, some eggs, some salt and pepper, and we're going to get this going. So this is how you do it. You just break it up little pieces. You got, you don't want them too big, right? You want them, like that. And you see, when you start mixing this up, that's going to break down even more. So you don't have to worry about it. If you have a little bit of a piece that's in there, I personally like to have a little piece of bread in my meatball. I'm also another person that does not believe that a meatball should be hard, right? It shouldn't be. You shouldn't bite into, like a hamburger is what I'm trying to say. If you made a hamburger, I don't believe meatballs should be like that. I believe that they should be meaty, obviously, but then I believe that they should be a little on the softer side. Okay, that's just me. That's how I make it. That's what I do. Okay, enough of the babbling and enough of the tips, because I really don't have any more right now until I get on to the next stage. We're gonna add in some more bread. We're gonna get this going, crack some eggs. I'll bring you back when I speed this up a little bit. This is the time-consuming part. Okay, guys, I'll be back with you guys shortly. Okay, so I'm done doing the bread. I used about 1 pound of bread in here, okay? And basically what I did is I just put enough on the top so you could still see the ground beef in the middle, okay? Pretty simple there. Now we're going to go on to, we're just going to crack open some eggs now at this point, okay? I guess basic rule of thumb is every pound of meat, 1 egg. So we're going to throw 4 eggs in here, okay? And that's just a start. All this is just a start, because it's like anything else. It's like if you turn around and you buy some ground beef from your butcher and say the mix isn't perfect, right? Like the 80-20 is off. There's more fat, less fat, so on and so forth. Then it's going to throw the whole consistency of this off, right? Because you're planning on that fat being there. So from time to time, the mix may be different, and that's up for you guys to actually make that adjustment on your own. You know, you always hope that everything is right the first time, but it doesn't always happen. You know, it's life, right? Okay, so we have some garlic here. I have 10, 10 cloves here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I got to do it like this. I can't measure this, but I'll get you a measurement at the end for this. I just do this, right? Because I get a good idea. So if that was any indication, that's somewhere around 4 to 5 cloves of garlic. That's what that was. Again, we don't, you know, you don't really measure this. Same thing with parsley. I'm gonna do, I don't know, that's probably 2 tablespoons. So let's throw 2 tablespoons in, and I know I'm gonna need more than that. So we're gonna add a little bit more like that, and then give me 1 second to rinse my hands off. Okay, perfect. All right, now what we're gonna do is I will use a measuring cup for this part. Now comes your Parmesan cheese. Like I said, I grated this freshly. This is a half a cup, so we're just gonna do this. Yeah, see, we're gonna need more, so we're at least a cup in for this. Okay, so we're gonna start with that. We're gonna add a pinch of salt, maybe 2 little pinches of salt, and we're gonna add just a pinch of pepper. Okay, and that's it. That's our meatballs, right? So we're just going to now just incorporate all this, okay? And you're gonna mix, and you're gonna mix, and you're gonna mix, and you're gonna mix. And that's the way this is done, obviously. You know, meatballs aren't a, you know, we're not launching the shuttle to the moon here, right? You know, we're making food. But you'll see as this incorporates, you'll see what the bread does. And that's the neat thing about using stale Italian bread. You can actually see it do what it does. And it's easier to do it like you do it in a big pan like this, right? You know, it's easy. Don't try to do it in a small pan, because it'll go all over the place. You know, like it's doing with me here, right? Okay, so we're gonna keep mixing it. People say, you know, don't over mix your meatballs. Listen, I've been doing this for a long time. I you know, you do whatever it takes to get your food out, right? You know, they say, you know, it can become hard and stuff like that. I'm gonna tell you that because you have moist bread in this, that it's not going to become hard. Now, if you use, now on the other hand, sorry about all this noise, that's why I hate using these pans, but I like them because they're big. If you use breadcrumbs, you're gonna get a tight meatball. I don't think there's any way around that. You know, I've ran some, I don't know, I guess so-called test or whatever you want to call them. I've done them both ways for, you know, on different occasions, just to see what the difference would be, right? And breadcrumbs always come out tight. So if you like that tight, meaty meatball, breadcrumbs is the way to go. 86 to bread, don't worry about it. But I bet you that if you turn around and make this like this, I bet you're gonna love these, hands down. Now, before anybody says, and I hope that when people make comments, which I like good comments, I like bad comments, it doesn't matter to me, but before the meatball police come after me about this and says, well, I don't do that, and I would have done this, and you know, my grandmother did this, and my mom makes it like this. Before you guys say anything to me, watch the whole videos, watch all the whole video that I do, because I say things throughout the video, and then people comment on it and kind of knock something down, which I don't care. But I just, you know, want to say that because sometimes there's no, I already answered the question for you guys. So this is how my meatballs take place, right? And I tell just by the smell of it, right? Now you can see all the white. My camera's like freaking out today. I don't know why, but you can see how it's not real meaty, right? It's kind of like white, and see what the bread did? You don't get chunks of bread. I mean, every now and then you do, which I personally love that. I think that's what makes a meatball. So yeah, anyways, this is how I make the meatballs, and now we're ready to roll. So yeah, you guys want to leave a comment? I think that's great. What I was going to say real quick is, before the meatball police come after me, you can absolutely do a third, and third, or a half, and then a veal, pork, and beef. Okay, these are just 80/20s. This is how, and I've made them. I've made them the other way as well. But today, this is how I'm making these. Now, you can see the consistency of this, right? They're a little bit soft. These are going to fry up. I'm going to fry these up in olive oil. These are going to fry up fantastic. Okay, so yes, you can use beef, pork, and veal. Absolutely. This is just one of the many ways that you can make a meatball. Okay, so I'm going to get a little bit cleaned up here, and I'm going to see if I need to add anything. I don't think I do. I think it smells good. Maybe just a little bit more Parmesan cheese in this. We'll give it a quick mix, and then we're going to start rolling these and getting these in the olive oil and fry these up. Out of the 4 pounds, I wound up getting exactly 50 meatballs out of this. Let me just walk over here. I just want to do something just for the hell of it. Let's see what they weighed as. I'm just gonna, they're all about the same, so I'm just gonna take one meatball. I'm gonna throw it on the scale. They're about 2.5 ounces a piece. So you're gonna get 50 meatballs at 2.5 ounces roughly, and that's what you're gonna get. Okay, so we're gonna take these over to the olive oil that's already hot in a cast iron skillet. We're gonna get these things frying up. You can bake them. Again, it's one of those things, you just do it however you want to do it. I like to fry my meatballs. That's the way my grandmother, I remember my grandmother doing it that way. So I've always continued with how she does it. So these are going to go in some olive oil, and we're going to fry these up. I'm going to take you over right now. Okay, so over at the cast iron skillet, we're ready to drop these meatballs in. We're going to cook these until just that sound brings back memories. Right, with my grandparents, my mom. Anytime I went to a relative's house, my aunts, this is what it smelled like. Okay, anyways, so 2.5 ounces, 2.4 ounces for the meatballs. They're a good sized meatball. Roll them smaller if you want to. It's totally up to you. You do it any way you want. Sauce over here, right next to the meatballs here, is doing very good. We're going to start adding some sausage to that. So that could get nice and tender, and we're gonna fry these up. Now I fry these until they get a little bit crispy on the outside. Okay, so that's how I do it. That's how I like them. You don't like them crispy, don't make them crispy. That's all. Right? So this is it right here. We're not going to overcrowd the pan, put too many in and piggyback them, because it also brings the temperature of the oil down. Okay, so we got probably about 3-4 batches here that we're going to fry up. We're going to put them in a separate bowl, and then we're going to dump them in the sauce. But when they come out of this oil, they're going to be fully cooked. So you can break one in half, test it, eat them, do whatever you want to do. Dunk it in the sauce with some bread. But they're going to be fully cooked. Okay, so I just want to pop in. I just want to show you exactly what I mean by what the color is that I like them on the back side, right? This is the color that you're going for, or that I'm going for. And then we're going to do this to the meatball all the way around. Okay, so medium low heat. Take your time with these. Don't ruin them. Make them nice, just like that. That's perfect. Couldn't get any more spot on. All right, I think my grandparents would be proud of these. This is how I fry them too. Okay, just like that. They're gorgeous. And I already sampled one too, and they're fantastic. So the meatballs are done. We're going to put these aside. But on these, make a girl want to marry you, right? Or if a girl does this, make a guy want to marry you. Okay, so here we go. We're just going to drop them down on the edge, just like this. Get some of these in here. We don't necessarily have to put them all in, but like I said before, I rolled about 50, it was 50 meatballs right on the money. So we're going to get some of these in here. Now this is actually going to change the flavor of the sauce, right? Because you have all the ingredients in the meatballs that are, that are going to come out. They're going to do their thing. I'll just give this a light stir. Now remember, if you make the meatballs like this, just keep in mind that these meatballs are a little on the softer side, so don't move them around too much. Don't beat them up. Just let them sit in there, absorb the flavor of the sauce. That's the whole idea here, right? Okay, so, all right, I think that's good enough for the meatballs. I don't know how many. I probably put in 40. I think I got 10 more sitting here. So what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna give this a quick plate, garnish it just a little bit, and that's gonna be it. Okay, this is very, very nice. So we're just gonna give it a little plate. So this recipe takes a little bit to make, but I'm telling you, this recipe is the only thing I can do is I hope you guys make it. That's all I can say, because this is like really, really delicious. Okay, so the only other thing that we're going to do now, and you can't forget it, right? Because that's what this was about, basically, was the sauce and the meatballs. So we got to get the meatballs in there, right? And we're gonna go with like a little bit of a half a link of sweet sausage on the other side, right? Okay, so let me grab a spoon. We're just gonna grab a little bit of sauce like this. Just like that. Okay. Okay, push that aside. What we're going to do is we're going to give it just a little bit of, going to give it a little Parmesan cheese, because, that's what we have to do. And we're going to just garnish it with a little bit of parsley, just like that. Always got to make your dishes nice, right? Okay, so that's it, and that's it. Okay, guys, if you guys like this recipe, I'm really hoping that you do. If you guys like this, this is my recipe for sauce and meatballs.